No offense, David Jaffe, but that's bullshit.
Well, Phil Collins may not care, but I care very, very much. Welcome to Gabbin' Games for Monday. I don't know. It's August something or other. 26. Good to see everybody. It's a late one. We're getting a late start today. That's because Star Wars came out and I wanted to spend a little time playing it. It's good to see you guys. Welcome to the goddamn show. There should be music there. There's not music there anymore. I don't know what to tell you, but it's nice to see you guys. Yeah, man, we got an interesting show today. We're going to talk a little bit of Star Wars. We're going to talk a little bit of Silent Hill 2. We're going to talk a little bit of Sony in general. Obviously, as it relates to Concord, but more importantly, as it relates to the big question that's on my mind when I think about that company that I came up with, that I still have a great deal of affection for. Do they lack visionary leadership, and is that going to get them into trouble? This is a live show. Gun's asking. It's a live show. Welcome over on the Twitch, welcome on the Twitter, welcome on the YouTube. If you like the show, once you hear it, don't like it now. You haven't heard anything yet. It's ridiculous to ask somebody to like it right now. But if you like it later in the show, give it a like, consider a subscription, a membership. If you're over on Twitch, toss me your Amazon Prime. It's free for you. I make some ducats off it, which allows me to continue this fine show. It also allows me to pay for sex workers that don't cost a lot of money where I go to get them. It's good to see you. Welcome to the Gabbin' in the Games. We also have good Sir Kirkland Gray coming on a little bit later. He did a full review of Star Wars Outlaws. The reviews are out this morning. And he's going to be talking a little bit about that. We'll be kicking the shit about it a little bit, see what you think, what you don't think. Is it worth your time? But first, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a scenario. And this isn't about games, but it'll get to games, I promise. But I want to tell you a scenario that I was in yesterday. And I don't know if anybody, I know we have a couple lawyers who watch this show. I'm not asking for legal advice. I'm just curious. So I'm in my car. Where was I going? Oh, I was going to go pick up some dope, actually. I got some dope here from Gelato, the dope. And I go under this overpass, right? And the way this particular overpass is you've got a gap between the north and the south freeways that are above you. So you're like in this bridge, and there's this gap between them, right? And I've been hearing a lot. There were some earthquakes in Southern California. There was one in Northern California. I've been hearing a lot about seismologists are suggesting that, the faults that are rubbing up against each other are not the usual faults. And this could be a sign of a really big earthquake on the way. So I'm sitting there and I'm in between this gap, or I'm about 5 feet away from being in that gap, that if the bridges collapse like they did in Northridge in LA, and I was there for that, I'd be crushed. And in front of me is this car. Now, I'm in a Corolla, but if I gunned it, I could probably push it, even if it had the brakes on. And I'm going, if the ground starts shaking, and if it feels like it is really bad, what would I do? What would you do? Would you gun it and push them out of the gap that they're currently occupying, which would save their lives, the bridges collapse? Or would you say, no, this is fate. I'm not going to kill someone for me to survive, right? If they have kids in the car, would it change it? If you had your kids if I had my kids in the car, you goddamn right. It's no question. I would gun the fuck out of that car and try to push it out of the way, and I would take the gap. I would do it. But if it was just me, I don't know. And I thought about this a long time, but then I picked up the dope and I ingested some of the dope, and then I stopped thinking about it. But it comes to my head every so often. I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but I do want to say thank you for the super chats coming in fast and furious. Sex worker money, says Miggy. Thank you, buddy. He says in Thailand, this might be enough. It might, which is tragic. But thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate that. Dustin Hadid, thank you for your super chat. He says, another glorious night with our Papa Jaffe. You goddamn right. When you spark that up, don't forget to pass it. Listen, I ain't sparking it up anytime soon. I did a little bit this weekend, but I was so high. I've already told people this story. I was so fucking high recently that I traveled the highways and byways of the cosmos mentally and saw creatures and entities, and it took me 3 or 4 days to recover from that little trip, which I did not expect. So I'm taking it easy right now. But Hadid, thank you, and I will absolutely in the future for sure. Gun says, is this the trolley problem? Not really, because the trolley problem, if you don't know, is a famous philosophical conundrum where you're in a trolley and there are a bunch of people tied to the tracks, and there's one person, I think, tied to the tracks, but that's person you know. So do you pull the lever and cause it to go into the other track where you kill a bunch of strangers? Something like that. It's kind of like that, but in this case, I would die. So I don't know. JJ, thank you for the super chat. He says, more people right now are playing Redfall than Concord. I hear you. I hear you, and we will absolutely talk about the Concord situation, and more importantly, as it relates to Sony's bigger picture. And listen, guys, I'm over. I'm not a negative... I'm not a clickbait guy. I'm not a rage bait. I'm not here. When I tell you, I think PlayStation is in trouble. They just don't know it yet. They might know it, but you just don't know it. Or a lot of fans don't know it. I'm not saying that to get clicks. I'm not trying to be controversial, as the British, I don't know what they say. As the British say, I genuinely feel this in my bones of my bones, and I want to talk about it with you guys. But first, let's get to a little bit of news. First thing Twisted Sith says I'm doing after this show is asking ChatGPT about the trolley problem. Let me tell you something. Is that right, Eddie T? Eddie T says there's more. Listen, I'm not going to... Look, Eddie T says there's more people watching this stream than playing... the goddamn Concord. Look, man, I remember, right now, and we'll check later in the show, but as of an hour before we went live, Concord had on Steam about 240 people. Now, obviously there's quadruple more than that on PlayStation. Of course, Steam is not, there's more people playing on PS5, but I know what it's like to come in. I was thinking all weekend. I remember our first weekend of Drawn to Death, and we knew it was going to be a dismal failure. So weird. Because I thought Sony was lying to me. Because Sony, not all of Sony, but the producers were like, hey, that was a pretty good weekend. And me and Nick were just like, are they just trying to make us feel better? Or do they not see the numbers that we're seeing? Because we knew by Saturday, Sunday, we were fucked like a fucking fuck. Okay? And going in Monday, though, you have to live in a little bit of denial. You have to live in a little bit of, okay, we can fix this. Okay, what's not working? What can we change? What levers can we pull? I don't know if these Concord guys came in today or, when they came into work after the launch and they were like, all right, guys, that was rough. Let's pick ourselves up. Sony's guaranteed us 6 months of runway to turn this thing around or make it, make it work. I don't know, but my God, that could not have been a very good weekend. And it had to have been a very tough day because people are shitting all over that game, and we will talk about it. 1 Minute Gamer says, how many players did Drawn to Death have the first weekend? So we went live with Drawn to Death on a Tuesday. By Friday night, we were up to 10,000 concurrent. And it wasn't on Steam. It was just PS4. And that was our max. And I remember Mike Riccio, the CTO lead programmer, who also is the guy who was the lead programmer on the much in demand now Deadpool PS3 game. He was like, we did it. We made it. And we all went home Friday night thrilled as pleased as punch. Come on, shut up. And then I got up the next day and I just started seeing the numbers go, boo. People checked in, see what this was all about, and then they were like, yeah, not for me. So it was tough, but I wonder, I thought about that team a lot this weekend, given how poorly received that game has been at a numbers level. People who play it, including me, I played the beta, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I never had a desire to play anymore after that. Awesome Tatum played the beta. He said it was slow, but high production values. I am slightly sad for PlayStation, but nobody wanted another hero shooter, and the selling point of the narratives didn't make sense. No, that even seems so much stupider in the light of day when you look at their like, hey, there's going to be a movie every week, and then they open the Concord game with like 20 minutes of cutscenes. I'm like, what are you people doing? But we'll get to it. Listen to this, Master Luke. No, you can't. Master Lee, he says he's just playing, but fuck you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I got a legal question. Can I sue you for not getting my reference letter yet? No, you know why, Master Luke? Let me tell the audience what happened. So Master Luke's the guy that does all the wonderful, fun art for this show right now, like the where I'm all crazy with the cartoony hat and the big beard and all that shit. Wonderful. I adore it. He's wonderful. He brings so much to the show. I reach out to him about 4 months ago, I don't know when it was. And I says to the man, I says to him, hey, can I get this, that, and the other? And I haven't put it up yet, but I'm going to be putting it up this week or next week. And he says, sure. And he does it. And as always, he does a bang up crackerjack of a job. If you're looking for an artist, give him a hire or take his shit, feed it into ChatGPT and say, rip this off. A wink. But after he's done, I'm like, hey man, what do I owe you? This is great. Let me pay you. I don't want any money, Jaffe. Oh, but I want to pay you. I don't want any money. I just want you to write me a letter telling me how good my shit is so I can share it with my family and use it as a reference. I says to him, okay, I'll do that, but I don't have a lot of time and I have ADD bad. And so doing something like that's going to take me a while. Might be 6 months before you get the letter. I'm upfront about it. And then he's giving me shit all the time, which I appreciate because it comes with money. And I'm like, dude, after the fact, you don't make the deal and then sue me because I haven't delivered. That's like somebody, doing you something and you say, can I pay you after the fact? And they say, no, but here's what I want. And the person says, okay, I can do that, but it'll be a while. And then you are like, I'm going to sue you. It doesn't matter. The point is, thank you for the super chat. Listen to this super chat. Captain Hook, thank you. He says, Jaffe ahoy, the cat gut scraper. The cat gut scraper. I know there's a reference in there, but I don't remember it. Oh, do you always bring my arse to anchor with your gingerbread work? Indeed. Ha ha. Good Lord. What the fuck? I'll do it in the voice. Ahoy, Jaffe, the cat gut scraper. Oh, do you always bring my arse to anchor with your gingerbread work? Indeed. Ha ha. I don't know what that means, but it's good to have you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. All right. 7-6 says the Concord situation is kind of sad, like how expensive those cutscenes are just for Guardians of the Galaxy clone. It feels like they're trend-chasing Guardians and hero shooters instead of making something from the heart. We'll get to that. Okay. Oh, I know he said he was joking, and I am going to write the letter. I want to write the letter. He deserves the letter. He's great. It's not like I'm trying to put it off. I have ADD. It takes me a while to do this shit. That's all. It's got nothing to do. Now let's get some news out of the way. Then we're going to jump into the Star Wars and talk to Kirkland Gray about his review. I'll give you my impressions. I played it on the chat earlier today. And we'll go from there. Okay. Tones, we'll talk about Wukong in just a little bit. I do want to let you know that come Monday, I don't know if I'm doing a live show or not tomorrow, but I will absolutely be watching the Nintendo Direct and their indie partner show tomorrow. It's at 7 a.m. There ain't no way I'm getting up for that. And I'll be covering that also. So I'm excited. I don't know what they're going to show, but they always have a couple things at least. They drop a demo tomorrow that you can play right away, all that shit. I'm excited for that. Bulbo says, Jaffe, my grandma's asked, do you really use people's money on sex workers? I honestly have not used a sex worker in a very long time. I've only used one once, and it was just because I was curious. And I was like, okay, I had that experience, but it's not actually something I do on the regular, no. But I have done it once, and I totally support sex workers as long as they're doing it, of their own accord, and they are enjoying it. And they are not being pimped out, and they are their own bosses. I'm all for it. Good. It should be legal. Absolutely. Awesome Tatum says, Kirkland, my favorite virgin. Come on now. LOL. That's probably mean. He's a good dude, but he literally screams, please wedgie me. Come on now. Okay. Dizzy Death over on Twitch says there's so many great games out. A generic hero shooter like Concord with unlikable characters is so not what anyone wants. I agree. Soak7, good to see you, bud. Okay. So I'm going to be dealing with that. Tomorrow, I'm not going to bore you with D&D. As I get older, I'm getting more and more into D&D. I played the Twisted Metal D&D beta campaign. Thought it was really good. You can find that right here on this very stream. Tomorrow, they're doing a D&D Direct, and I'm not going to talk about it later in the day in any meaningful way. What I am going to talk about is Project Sigil. Project Sigil is their 3D sandbox app that runs on your desktop, or maybe an app that lets you basically have your D&D campaigns, but with 3D environments and effects and 3D characters and all this shit. And I just think that's the knees bees, man. I'm into that. I'll talk about that. That's coming tomorrow as well. Jeff Grubb of the Philadelphia Grubs, you know, the ones that basically signed the Declaration of Independence of assholes. Jeff Grubb wants you to know, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he's usually right on the money with this stuff. He says a PlayStation State of Play, not a showcase, is coming by end of September. That's pretty cool. We know we're going to get the PS5 Pro this year. I don't know what else they're going to show. I mean, Astrobot's coming out before the end of September, so it'll be nice if they show off. I don't fucking know. Maybe they got something locked down for Christmas that may not be from first party, but maybe it's something that's exclusive to make. I mean, the PS5 doesn't need any help this Christmas. It's doing balls blazing. But that said, though, look forward to that. I will absolutely be streaming that. Christian says Astrobot looks good. It looks really good. There was some leaked footage the other day that didn't look too good, but everything I've seen and every journalist I've spoken with that has played it and gone hands-on with it say it is the shite, and I'm very much excited for it. Eddie T says they're going to reveal the Vita 2 here. I know they're interested in handhelds, but if they do what they did before, with the Vita and the PSP, they're a bunch of fucking morons. I'm serious. This is what I mean by leadership. In fact, do me a favor. Somebody bring that up, the whole Vita thing and their new handheld later when we get to that topic. Okay. Jaffe's lack of turning the CC on is remarkable. Yeah. I can't help you with that. It has to do with the resolution thing. It's a YouTube thing. Okay. Yes, JJ, you're right. PlayStation is going to show something at Tokyo Game Show. I don't know what they're going to show. But my understanding is they are going to show, they have a gacha game from Astrobot, so that'll be there. That might be where they reveal the Pro. I don't know. Because Tokyo Game Show is before or after into September. Maybe they're going to dovetail them into each other. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. I also am looking forward to welcoming Necrophagic to the Diet Soda Soldiers. Thank you, good sir. Thank you, Necrophagic. Necrophagic has flown down from his castle in Lithuania and said, hello. Do you know why not Darth Vader, Dracula, he talks like this? He doesn't. He didn't even in the movie. That's not how Bela Lugosi really talked. Do you know why he talks that way? I'll give you a minute to figure it out. It's got nothing to do with it, but Necrophagic does talk that way, and he says, I am so glad to be here, and I appreciate it, buddy. Ooh, Halloween's in the air. Can't wait. Necrophagic, thank you, buddy, for that support. Also, thank you, Trippy, for the support all the way from the UK. Dropping a super chat, here's what he says. With regards to PlayStation lack of vision, anybody remember Killzone, SOCOM, Wipeout, Colony Wars, G-Police, Motorstorm, Siphon Filter, Resistance? I remember them all. But the wheels of time continue to turn, and they can't just do what they did in the past, but they better fucking need to do something, because they're going to be in some trouble if they don't. Oh, no. I'll explain. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here. I'm really not. Oh, they'll have Horizon Lego. Yeah, I want to see that. Arathis said, but what do you mean Returnal? Oh, I see. You're not saying there's a remake of Returnal. I thought, yeah, I understand. Will you be buying a PS5 Pro? Probably. The only way I will buy a PS5 Pro is if GTA 6 is not going to be out on PC. I know they haven't announced it day one, But if it's not going to be out sooner than later, I'll probably get it for that. If Wolverine, which I'm sure will be great, is clearly better other than just some flashy graphics, sure. But what I will tell you, though, is, again, this is not a sponsored stream for GeForce at all. But I'm just saying, since I got GeForce, what's new video games? I know you're there. I literally just said I will be bringing Kirkland on when we get to the first story, which is Star Wars. I'm not there yet. I'm doing a show. There's a flow, baby. I'll get there. Good God Almighty. Wink. But since I got GeForce, it's like getting a new console anytime they update it, right? So I am playing Wukong at the highest settings with ray tracing at ultra, with all the visuals at the highest you can get them, and it's fucking awesome. And by the time PS5 Pro comes out, I'm sure NVIDIA will update whatever server PCs they're using to serve these games up to folks. And I'll have the latest and greatest. So it's not that I don't appreciate the value of something like a PS5 Pro, but once I started playing GeForce, I'm playing what PS5 Pro will be lucky to look like when it launches already. I mean, I could be wrong about that. I don't know what the specs are. But I'm already playing best the best, and that's always going to be PC when you're talking visually. Now, if PS5 Pro comes out with things that actually will change gameplay, holy cow. Yeah, I don't care about graphics. If they're like, oh yeah, but PS5 Pro comes with XYZ, that actually makes it comes with AI built into it that allows more procedural, on-the-fly game design to occur in certain... What? Of course. 7-6 says there's also a point of diminishing returns, like how much better can games even look? I don't agree with you. I would have agreed with you. And then I played GeForce Now. And then I saw the Cyberpunk mods, and I'm like, no, it can always get better. There's always another thing that will blow your mind just around the corner. That's how I feel now after having had that experience. Jaffe, what do you play GeForce Now on? I play it on my PC. I share the account with my son. He plays it on just his MacBook. And then I also do Game Pass, but that's not GeForce Now, on my Fire Stick out in the living room. So. Okay, don't you have a 4080 gun? I don't know what I have. I think I have everything top of the line except my graphics card, which might be one step down. But for example, with Star Wars, which we're about to start talking about, don't worry, Kirkland. That's a game that I can't wait for them to put it on GeForce Now. I hope it's going to be Friday because it's early access right now, so they don't usually do that. And, that's a game that when I turn everything up locally, it stutters, especially when you get out into the open world. But no, man, I'm playing Wukong top of the line, and it's delightful. The frame rate is great. The environments are great. The smoothness is great. It's just fucking fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. Cyber says it's blasphemy to release PS5 Pro before Bloodborne 60 frames. I think Sony's going to have to do something with the Bloodborne, and I'm sure they will, but I don't know if it's going to be happening before we get around to PS5 Pro. I think that's going to happen sooner than later. So, okay, what else? Oh, the last thing I want to tell you before we get to some games, I got two little quick game news stories, and then we're going to get right into Star Wars. So, Kirkland, I'll send you a link in just a second. But I do want to tell you this. So, my daughter's in town. She's out in Vegas right now, but she's in town at the moment. And she got her wisdom teeth out. And I go in while she's getting some dental work done. And I go into this store, wonderful store here in San Diego called Addie's Games. Giant analog, not video game store, but just giant analog game store, right? And it's overwhelming. If you've been into a really good analog game store, you are overwhelmed because you don't know how things play. All the art is spectacular. The production value of today's analog games are through the fucking roof. And it's easy to just go, I don't know what I should get. And the guys there are really helpful and whatnot. But I want to show you something real quick. So this, let me zoom into it. I went into the store. Hang on. I went into the store to Addie's Games, and I took this picture, and it's just a picture of their card games because I didn't want anything too hard and difficult. We just want something chill while she's recuperating. And I said, I need a game from here for my adult family. Nothing at all too complex, but more complex than, say, Uno, but closer to Uno. Any suggestions? And all I did was take a picture. I didn't list the games. I didn't tell, none of that. And it goes through and it says, out of these images, here are the 5 games that meet your criteria. And I bought Onirim and Jaipur. And so far, so fucking good. Isn't that amazing? I bring it up, A, because it's amazing and it's cool. But I also bring it up because I just, the idea of having artificial intelligence tied into games. And there's a video on this channel where I'm using ChatGPT to play as I have a co-op AI bot that I'm talking to in real time as I'm learning to play 7 Days to Die. And it's just insane. It's so delightful to have that help with you and have somebody there to sort of walk you through it. But we'll get to that as well as it relates to one of today's topics, which is how FromSoft has fucked up a generation of gamers. Let me get 2 more chats. We'll get to the story. GZDR Forever says, when you were storyboarding God of War, was Kratos fighting the Chinese or Egyptian gods? Would have been nice if you had him fight Wukong. No. God of War 1, the one I mostly worked on entirely, was all Greek mythology. Okay. All right. Listen to this. I have not gotten in. So if anybody is out there that is playing this game, Deadlock from Valve, and they want to invite your old Papa Jaffe to the show, the game, whatever, I'm around. Because other than Valve inviting you, that's the only way to get in. But the news on this is pretty good. Last Friday, after spending months pretending it was the worst kept secret, the gaming's worst kept secret didn't exist, Valve revealed Deadlock to the world. The official announcement came with their blessing for public discussion, blah, blah, blah. The 10th most followed streamer on Twitch, a guy who goes by the name of Shroud, said this game is going to easily, and I mean easily, take over. He also put this clip out. Has anybody played this? Has anybody played it? This is the clip he put out. Check it out.
Honestly, for my 10 hours that I've played yesterday, this is probably the best third-person shooter I've ever played. Because it's not just simply shoot and use abilities. There's so much more nuance to it, right? Like you have the slide, which is infinite ammo. You have the double jump, which is a stam bar. You have the dash, which is a stam bar. Then you also have the fast dash into like a slide. So like it has probably the most mechanics I've ever seen in a third-person shooter.
Oh, really? Have you played Drawn to Death? Clearly not. But nobody else did either. Don't worry.
It's fucking crazy. The only thing it's missing is like wall riding, but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually a character can do that. And then it's a MOBA on top of that. Yeah, then it's a MOBA, and then it's got the whole map, and it has like underground lanes. It's got...
It's not Shade. I don't know the guy.
It's got these fucking boxes and these Buddhas that add permanent stats throughout the game. It's just like... It's honestly so cool. I don't even think 1,000 hours would be enough to learn the game.
Oh, I agree. Where did it go? Lord Vlygar says this doesn't look like anything exceptional. Is this a joke? No, it really is not a joke. But he's not the only one saying it. Is my point. The articles are coming out now. Sean Day 9 Plot says, I can say publicly, finally, it's currently my favorite game to play. I generally dislike shooters because I'm awful at them. As with any hero-based game, history will judge Deadlock based on one criteria alone, the richness of its fan art. And once Valve sanctioned public Deadlock discussion, fan artists wasted no time. I only bring that up because I remember being at AnimeCon about 6 months or so, or maybe a year before Drawn to Death came out, but Overwatch had just come out, and within a week, there was fan art and cosplay within a week of that fucking game. So they're not wrong that that's a pretty good fucking barometer. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see I want to see how it plays. I'm not a big MOBA guy, but I do like third-person shooters. Yeah, Necro says his description doesn't sound like anything we haven't seen before. I agree, but everybody's saying it's really fucking good. So if anybody's got an invite, hit me up. They need to go back to making the kind of games you made, says J Lord. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Very kind, very courteous, buddy. Well, we'll get to that. Possibly. But on this game, though, no, I'm just saying I'm not saying what this guy put up is like, oh my God, I can't wait to play it. It doesn't look all that impressive. And the fact that he's talking about, oh, there's a double jump and a slide and boxes. I'm like, have you ever played a game before? And it sounds like you guys are saying that this guy's really hardcore into Fortnite. And I'm like, Fortnite has all that. One of the ways my kid plays Fortnite is he slides all over the place because it's faster and it doesn't take up any stamina. So I'm not entirely sure, but I don't believe he was paid for this. And he's not a lone voice in the wilderness. A lot of people are saying this though. Okay. Let me get these super chats. J Lord, thank you again. He says games like Stellar Blade and Conan Exiles need to be rules, not exceptions. We will get to that. I want to talk about it very badly, but I want to go in order because, I'm a very structured guy. It's my time in the military. Carlos says, can't you ask Gene? Pretty sure he's got an in, Jaffe. I mean, I guess I could. I didn't think about it, but I don't want to. No, I'd rather ask you guys. Look, I have so much to play. I don't really fucking need to play anything right now. I'm just saying, if you got one, hit me up. If not, I'll wait till it's around. No big deal. Okay. Let me bring in Kirkland if he's around. I'm going to send him an invite. This is also a show where if you want to jump in after Kirkland and I talk, share your views. We don't do it with every show. We are doing it with this show. I know some of you guys like it. I'm going to bring Kirkland Gray in, though. Let me send him a link right now. Kirkland, if you are watching, check your, what's that thing called? Check your Twitter, baby. And not your Twitter, baby. Your Twitter, baby, period. And look, you guys can say, ugh. Some of you guys don't like Kirkland Gray, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Kirkland is a very, what's the word? Kirkland is a very articulate, astute critic. He writes well. He puts out good reviews. Now, I get it. He's a little serious for himself. I wish he'd loosen up a little bit and stop being so goddamn serious. And maybe he's like, yeah, that's what my therapist says too. If you can do it for me, Jaffe, let me know. But he's played the whole game. And I think a lot of you guys are like, look, as you should be, going, help us out. Is this a game we should be spending our ducats on? So while we're waiting, that's not the word I'm looking for, Wayne, if that's your real fucking name. Let's see, he's not in yet. But here's what I want to tell you about this while we're waiting. So I played this today, and I've only played about 2 hours, okay? So I played pretty much what amounts to the opening tutorial level where you're on, I think it's called Canto or Canto Blight or Bright, whatever. And then I got in this ship and the ship crashed, and now I'm on this speeder bike going, looking for jobs that I can use to afford to fix my ship. So I haven't done any space combat stuff yet, so I can't speak to that. That's another reason, besides just that he writes good reviews. Kirkland gave this an 8 out of 10. I'll tell you where this is sitting right now on Metacritic, but I enjoyed what I played. I'm not going, oh my, like if somebody said, like, I want to play more so I can talk about it more, and I really do, I'm enjoying it. but I'm not sitting around going, it's not like Wukong. Like Wukong, I'm genuinely excited to get back and play. I'm more curious to get back and play Star Wars because I want to see if I like it overall. And there was nothing about it I didn't like. I was very surprised by a number of the reviews on this game that came out today. What I will say about this, which I just find very... Oh, there's Kirkland. All right, let me bring him in. 1 second. Bring up his volume. All right, Kirkland, can you hear me? Kirkland. All right, it might take a second. In the meantime, while we're waiting for him, can you hear me?
I cannot hear you in Streamlabs. I can only hear the YouTube.
All right, let me see what's going on. 1 second.
Yeah, you're talking right now, and I can't hear you in Streamlabs.
How about now? How about
yes.
now? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, 1 second, Kirkland. So what I was saying to people is I played this today. So one of the reasons I want to play it more before I can say I recommend it or don't is I'm playing it in Ubisoft Plus, right? So this is $18. And even though the timing probably quite intentionally is a little off, I'm going to end up subscribing to this for 2 months to play Star Wars and Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I also want to catch up on some of the, what is their racing game, The Crew, or the whatever their new, whatever the goddamn thing is, their version of Horizon, which is excellent. And I want to go back and I want to spend more time with the Prince of Persia 2.5D game and all that. So if you're basically talking about the cost of a movie ticket for one person to play two of the biggest games of the year, I certainly can't imagine why you wouldn't. Now, I haven't played enough of this game to know if this is something that you should actually go off and pay full price for, wait for a discount, or skip altogether. It's sitting at a 77. Before I ask you, Kirkland, about the specifics of your review, which you gave it an 8 out of 10, my question to you is, this morning when I woke up, when the embargo lifted at 5 a.m., and I wanted to see where it was, this was at a 72. And a lot of reviews had already hit. Something happened around 1 or 2 where other reviews hit that were more positive. And I've never really seen such an inconsistency, whereas later in the day, you started getting reviews on this game that were the 95s, the 90, 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 I mean, 88, 88, 85. You know, most of what we saw earlier today was like, 80, 75, 63, was there, because you got an early copy, was there something about the embargo that said people got to sort of release reviews at specific times or what?
No, there shouldn't have been anything like that.
Okay. So you have no idea what that is then? What's caused
No.
that? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. But you liked it. You liked it.
I did.
And do you recommend it for... Who would you recommend this game to? And by the way, I will put up a link in this particular show to Kirkland's both written review that he did, not for his site. I'd never heard of this site, but you did a written review on that site. What's it called?
It's a Scottish outlet that I'm a contributor for. It's
okay.
It's a review and like news coverage outlet, like a little mom and pop IGN, basically.
Gotcha.
Or Game Informer or whatever. But yeah, it's called Pure Dead Gaming.
Okay, and I'll put a link to that, and I'll put a link to your video review, which came up this morning as well. So, who do you recommend this for?
I recommend it for Star Wars fans. I don't know that you should go out and buy this tomorrow or anything. If you have disposable income and you're really intrigued and want to jump in this now, I think that might be worthwhile for you, but. What I keep saying to people is this is probably a Black Friday purchase. You probably want to find this for $35, $40 before you're jumping in on this. I was really surprised. I watched between the show that I did earlier today on Reforged Gaming and this appearance, which got moved back by an hour and a half.
Okay,
I watched.
let's be clear. Who fired the first shot, folks? Me or Kirkland Gray? Let's be more clear.
I did it. I did it.
Let's be more clear.
It's more entertaining if we bicker anyway, so I figured we might as well get it going.
You know what he says to me? No, fuck it. Let's stay on Star Wars. We'll talk about that later. I want to pay respect to the work you've done. And
I love you, Dave.
Fuck it, I'll just do it now. You know what he says to me? He's bitching about the fact that I pushed the time up. Well, I pushed the time back a bit because I wanted to play the game so we could have a more cogent, interesting conversation where I wasn't just like, I ain't played it yet. Also, all 400 of your followers, probably 80% of them are bots from Russia. I'm sure they'll understand. You know the fuck you're sitting with, baby? You're sitting with the king. All right, let's go. So Star Wars
you're
fans.
ADHD, I'm highly likely autistic, so I just don't like when people say one thing and don't.
I don't like it either, but welcome to the goddamn terror drome, Mr. Bonks. That's how it plays.
Mr. Bonk.
You know that? You know where that's from?
I don't.
Oh, Father the Bride, smart and short. Okay, listen though, seriously, Star Wars fans would like it. That's what you would say. I mean, Game Over Greggy comes out. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, exactly. Go ahead. That's exactly where I was.
Well, I'll bring it up while you're talking about it because I have it right here.
In between my show that I did earlier today and coming on here, I had to sit down and watch the Kind of Funny episode. Big fan of their content, have been for a very long time. Love Kind of Funny, love what they do. Kind of inspire me to do my little hobbyist type ventures. But yeah, I was so surprised that they came down super hard on it. But like, as with anything, like this is the thing about doing this like with an embargo. This is one of the few games where like I've had an embargo and it's a really, really big title. Like usually, people are saying that my voice is very low.
Oh my God, focus, boy. I'm not the one that has ADD. Let's go.
No, okay. I'm going to project then because people are saying that my voice is low.
Your voice is low. You look like a 12-year-old kid. You look like the Doogie Howser of content creators. And you know what? Who gives a shit? Own it. There are going to be people who like it, people who don't like it. Guess what? You're on camera with a goddamn legend and they're not. So fuck them up their butthole, Kirkland Gray.
I think they mean that my volume needs to be higher, which I don't know. Who can fix that?
Well, that could be true too.
Yeah, if you can fix that, that'd be great. I don't think I can.
I just fixed it. Tell me if that's
okay. Awesome. Yeah, chat. Let Jaffe know. And no, I'm not on drugs. I'm just tired because it's 10 p.m. here, and Jaffe pushed the show back by an hour and a half. And I'm an old man in a young child's body.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're like fucking the guy who aged backwards. Okay, keep going. Go.
The Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you're doing this is the first time I've had a review embargo to where I couldn't say anything about the game, and I had no idea. Like I'm literally just in isolation in my apartment playing this game. I had like one or maybe two people I could even talk to that I knew were also under embargo. Otherwise, I can't talk to anybody. Like I can't disclose anything about the game to anyone, and there's nothing for me to read or anything other than previews. So like, this is the first time that's like a major title. Like I've had like smaller titles like that I could cozy up with the publisher and they'll send me an email or whatever. But it's for like a little indie or something.
Okay,
so this is a major title that's going to come out that I have to articulate, like, what's my opinion on it, and I have no idea, like, what anybody else thinks.
Well, that's good.
Like,
you should be in a vacuum, right?
True. Yes. But, you can only encompass so many things. Like, that's why that review is the written one is so extensive, because I try to cover, like, all bases of, like, what is this thing? What are the pitfalls? What are the highlights? Like, really flesh out every aspect of it. But the thing about, like, an embargo like that is like now that I've read and heard so many other reviews, because like I'm invested now. I want to know what people, I've spent a week not knowing, wondering, being like, well, this is what I think. I have to go and consume everything that I can find about it to see what people think. And there's people articulating like certain misgivings and hangups and being critical about it. And I'm like, that's very astute. Like that's well articulated. Like I find myself agreeing with a lot of the criticisms that people had of it. So like, we Kind of Funny just torched it earlier today. I was like, a lot of what they're saying is true. I don't know that I feel like as passionately and strongly about it as like, oh, it's just awful. Like that's kind of the tone that they took with it. It's like it's just egregious. Like it's excruciating to have to put up with this.
Okay, hang on.
For me, it's like a minor setback.
Other than Greg Miller, what kind of mainstream critics have kind of felt that way? Because I've seen most people just kind of give it more of a...
Jordan Midler at VGC gave it a 6.
Okay, and he okay.
Pretty mainstream, yeah.
Yeah, he is. I love VGC. Okay. I saw that Gene really liked it. He gave it basically 3 out of 4 stars. That's not,
Yeah.
So do you wake up and see these reviews and think you got it wrong? Or is there's no wrong? I mean, it's subjective, but
A little. I mean, not. I got a lot of criticism on Reforge Gaming, and I think that's also contributing to the fact that like people are angry at me for rating Concord so high, which I stick by. I articulated very extensively, or at least thoroughly in that review, that I rated the game high because mechanically it's good. That doesn't mean that it's a value proposition. Like
you're
now,
anybody who's mad at you about the Concord review, they're too stupid to. I have to assume they had somebody in, their assisted living home turn on the computer for them, because there is no way in the God's green earth that you made it very clear. And I would agree with you in that review, which is it is a very well-made game. There is some great shooting. There are some great mechanics. I think the character design, the world design, all that's stupid. It goes too far. And you make it very clear at the end you would not buy it right now.
Yeah, it's not needed.
But that's not
like,
what he was reviewing. But God forbid somebody would actually pay any attention before they open their fucking mouth.
But regarding Outlaws, like, I people seem to, the consensus seems to be like this is a 6 or a 7. So I'm on the higher end of that.
Okay.
And they're like, Jeff Grubb commented about this on Twitter. He was like, the discourse that people are like, well, if it wasn't a Star Wars game, like people wouldn't even, be rating it that high.
Absolutely true.
That's such a nonsense. Like,
I think it's true. I think it's
like,
true.
No, duh. No, of course it's true. Like, it's a brain dead assessment to think that isn't like, it's like, duh. Like, like the whole premise of why anybody would play this game.
I think if you play this and you rip out Star Wars or you play Indiana Jones and the Great Circle simply based on what we've seen and what the press has played, which is nothing. Even at Gamescom, they didn't go hands-on, which I don't understand. When you can go hands-on with Avowed, but you can't go hands-on with Indy, which comes out sooner. But whatever. I'm in because it's Indy. If you strip Indy out, I still may give it a look, but because I like first-person and machine games and all that. But yeah, without Indiana Jones there, it's just kind of a generic-looking first-person action-adventure game, which may or may not be good depending on, what you do is when you play it. Star Wars is the same. I think part of my enjoyment of the game right now is being in an open-world Star Wars environment for now, and I think that's kind of cool. So you're saying if you're a Star Wars fan, you would recommend this game?
Yes, that doesn't mean go out and buy it right now.
That is what it means. Would you buy it at full? If you're a Star Wars fan,
no,
you would not buy it at full price.
No, but I don't. There's a lot of games I don't buy at full price, so I don't know if that's a good metric. I mean, I gave Rise of the Ronin a 9, and I don't think I would have gone out and bought that at full price. So I don't know if that's a good. I think with Black Friday being so close, I'm a big Black Friday purchaser. Like it's just a day or a period where there's going to be a guaranteed price drop on something. Oh, so yeah. Like we can and
especially with Ubisoft games. I mean, they
predict that. Like it's so predictable. Like we know that game is going to be at least down to what 50 max. On Black Friday.
But even what I don't understand is
why do you need it? 3 months in advance? No, it's more than that. But like we're talking around 3 months. Like actually, it is about 3 months.
How often do you go back and play games that you've already played?
Not as much as I would like or I should.
Okay, I asked because for me, like the idea of paying $18. Like, how long did this game take you to finish? A week? How many hours?
I've played about 40, and I've spent a lot of time blanking around.
Okay, so you could get it finished in a month, obviously.
Yeah, you could finish it in like a weekend if you tried.
Okay.
If you really just tried to mainline the main campaign, which I talked about in my review, I don't think the main campaign is really what this game is offering. I think if you just played the main campaign and then set it down, you'd be like, that sucked. And I think that's exactly what Kind of Funny did. I think they they came back from Gamescom and they had a window of time to get ready for that podcast, and they played through the 15-hour campaign, and they were like, that freaking sucked. That was not fun.
So the campaign is not good.
I didn't like it. I'd rather say that.
Why not?
I didn't love it. it's long, drawn out, meandering. You don't make a ton of really meaningful connections. I feel like with characters, you don't even run into the droid on the cover art until like 8 to 10 hours in. His chemistry with the main protagonist isn't even good or enjoyable. Like it's not like an Andor and K2SO type of relationship or anything like that. So that's like a little bit of false advertising. And then like I felt like the really good parts of the campaign were like missions that like weren't actually about the sort of what's the word? Like the train moving towards the destination of like the plot apparatus. Like it was more like
The
things
side
that were
quests?
introducing. Well, no, it was a main campaign mission that pertained to like the overall like objective of like where we were going. But it was like this thing is kind of meant obviously to be a vehicle to introduce you to certain side characters or systems like involving the syndicates or their, you know, the bosses or like doing jobs, like what the underworld is like. And then like that's not really going to be a thing in the main campaign for much anymore. But like now you're introduced to that system by way of a main campaign mission. You can go and interact with that if you want to. And basically my reaction to like any campaign mission like that was like, oh, good. Don't mind if I do. And then I effed off for like 10 hours and just did that thing. Because like the campaign was not, I wasn't like, oh, I got to figure out what happened. Like anytime I would go back into the campaign, it was basically because I was like, I basically can't do anything else until I obviously progress this game. Like the campaign to me just felt like a progression gate. Whereas like, it feels like I've done everything I can here. I guess I want to leave this planet. I can't do that yet. I guess I have to advance more in the campaign until my ship can do that. And then I would play the campaign, and then I would get off the planet, and I would get somewhere else, and I'd be like, all right, when can I, fuck off? When can I stop doing the campaign so I can go explore Tatooine or whatever? That's kind of how I
So
approached
where do
it.
you think most of the hate is coming from online? Is it still that whole, oh, we don't like the female main character, or is it more?
I haven't seen that very much.
I've seen that a
actually.
little bit. I mean, I actually found her oddly proportioned and modeled and created and lit in the trailers. I didn't care.
Her hair looks bad.
But
Just
once
as a
I started,
graphical thing.
once I started playing the game, though, I really liked her. I thought she was cute. I thought she was fun. She had a great personality. I was totally bought in within the first 20 minutes of getting to know her. But I'm trying to figure out if it's that, or obviously Ubisoft has earned a great deal of disdain and distrust and skepticism. And well, there's a lot of people who look at Ubisoft and go, all you guys do is make cookie cutter open world games that are uninspired and business decisions above any kind of artistry. Is that true or not? Your mileage will vary, but I think it's a valid criticism to throw at them over their work of the last 10 years. The question is that the question is, if it's not those two things, where do you think a lot of this anger and like people really have it out for this game? This and Concord, they really seem upset about.
I think people get mad when a game that clearly has a lot of time, effort, polish, some money behind it, like Sony, like Concord being a Sony first party game, basically, or like the might of a particular IP, when a game like that doesn't do well. Like it's basically like people really care about Star Wars. They are invested in that universe and that IP. And I think the same thing would have happened with Hogwarts Legacy. Like if that game had not delivered, obviously that had its own controversy that I'm not trying to get into because that's not related to what I'm trying to say. But if that game had been a 7, I think people would have been upset. Like they would have been like, why have you taken this license and gone and made something that's basically mid? Like 7 isn't really mid, it's good. For as far as video game standards, like 7 basically means it's worth playing, it's enjoyable. But people would view that as mid, just like they viewed it when Starfield got a 7. Like it's the same thing.
Right.
Like Starfield was supposed to be the game of the generation. It's supposed to be a 9 out of 10. It's supposed to contend for game of the year. Like it's the second coming of Xbox and Bethesda and all that. It's the best space odyssey to ever exist in video games, and it's a 7. And people like rioted basically,
and
it's
they
expect better.
I don't think they might, but I don't know if they know that they are a very vocal minority compared to the number of people that are probably going to rush out and buy a Star Wars game that is a 7, right? I mean, the number of people, I assume this game is going to do very, very well. Now, obviously, I was saying this on my stream. Star Wars isn't what it used to be, where you can just slap a title on a box and people show up. The brand has been significantly damaged since those days, but it seems like a pretty good holiday Christmas seller going into it seems like it's going to do really, really well, but
I wouldn't be surprised if it sold better than Assassin's Creed Shadows does, and I bet Assassin's Creed Shadows is a better game.
Oh, I'm sure. It looks good. Trippy, I will get to your super chat once we get to that topic. I appreciate it, but we're just kind of not there yet, and so I don't want to derail, but I will get there.
Saad Khan, are you not listening to me? I said that the same thing would have happened if Hogwarts was not good. It was very, very good, so people weren't upset about the Hogwarts IP being wasted. Like, people were like, oh, this is a fantastic realization of Hogwarts in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and like it got overwhelming praise outside of that other like political issue for like how good of a video game it was from like the same population of people online that Jaffe is saying are like roasting Outlaws. That's what I'm saying. Is like when you take an IP, basically it's like, all right, you're gonna go make a game just like a movie or a show, just like people are upset about Acolyte and all that other stuff. Like if you take something that people love, that people are invested in, and you're like, I'm going to do something with this, when you don't have to. Like, nobody's forcing you to do that. Ubisoft could have just gone and made their own version of Uncharted. Like, they could have. But they were like, we're going to go get this license, and we're going to make a Star Wars game. People expect you to do a good job.
Especially I think when you're talking about not that it may or may not be the first, that's debatable, I guess, but when you're really talking about, for most people, the first open world. Everybody's been wanting GTA meets Star Wars forever.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they got to be the ones to step up and make it, and then they didn't deliver, at least according to most critics, a Game of the Year contender, maybe that's a little frustrating as well, I would imagine. Here's what, I'm going to read the last paragraph because that's all I ever read reviews, because what else do I need? Of Eurogamer's 2-star review. Tell me if you agree or disagree with this. The result of this game is a series of quite painful comparisons. It lacks the branching open stealth of an Arkham game, the systemic options of a Dishonored, or the incisive, relentlessly satisfying speed of picking enemies off in Assassin's Creed games. It lacks the linear polish and charisma of Uncharted, lacks the animation flow to its yellow ledge platforming next to Horizon, or the sheer joy of taking platforming and making it into an actual game in and of itself, as in Star Wars Jedi. I'm not quite sure I understand that. And somewhat nightmarishly for Ubisoft Massive, which couldn't have known about this when committing, Outlaws opts to tell a Star Wars heist story in a world after Andor, which has already done so with such sensitivity, humanity, and precision that Kay, the protagonist in this game, and her co-cameo-ridden non-event is unfortunately left feeling light years behind. What do you think? Is that, you've played it, you gave it an 8, they gave it a 4. I guess if you do the math, right? 8 out of 10, 2 out of 5. I don't know. Your worlds apart. Do you think they have a point here, or do you don't agree with their points?
Wait, so you're saying they gave it a 4 out of 10?
No. That's, I was trying to do the math. Yeah, they gave it their scale
the same score that I did.
No, they gave it a 2 out of 5. So their 2 out of 5, I guess, is a 20 out of 5.
I remember their review now. They were basically making the argument that Ubisoft, I would say that they tried to go outside of their wheelhouse in trying to make more than like the typical Ubisoft game, like the open world Ubisoft game.
Right.
And the terminology that they used is that they peeled it back. They peeled back the formula of what makes up a Ubisoft game. And they basically are making the assertion or the argument that like there's nothing else. Like Ubisoft doesn't know how to do anything else well. So like for them to go outside of their comfort zone, their wheelhouse, is basically to peel back at like something that's hollow. Like there's nothing underneath. So they're basically saying like they try to do all these other things other than the checklist open world that Ubisoft is able to do effectively to where they can make 8 out of 10 games and people are satisfied. You know, they want that dopamine hit. They want to climb another tower, take out another outpost, like whatever it is. They were like, yeah, when you take that away, you're not really good at making games. That's like basically what I got out of that. And I don't agree because of all the Star Wars, like you can call it fan service, you can call it reverence, you can call it attention to detail, like what, like you can call it Easter eggs, like whatever you want to call it. Like there's so much Star Wars injected into this game on a very intentional, granular level. Like, they clearly worked their asses off to like make layers upon layers of this feel like Star Wars. Like, the hub areas are so organic and lively, like with all these NPCs that like they just feel like they're wandering around, or they're tending shops, or and some of them are merchants, some of them are interactable, some of them you can overhear their conversations and you can like go do a quest in response to that. Like,
I like that you could bet on the horses and make some money.
So that's so cool.
Yeah.
And like you haven't played Sabacc yet, but I've spent probably over more than a half dozen hours playing Sabacc. It's kind of like it's like poker without the it's like Texas Hold'em, but like only your 2 cards matter. Like there aren't any other cards. So it's like a little bit more like draw poker. Okay. But you're basically trying to make like the best pair. Like, think of it as like if you have 2 aces, you win.
And you're collecting those cards, right? Because I know there's part of the menu where you collect these things that look like Sabacc cards. Are those actually the cards you play with?
These little they look like dog tags almost. Yeah. They're like these little chip things. And they're basically like they're like modifiers. Like, they function like you're a big Uno fan. They function like a reverse card or something.
In Sabacc or in the game, the core game?
Well, you collect them in the core game.
And then you use them in Sabacc. I got it.
But like, what you can do is you can be like, oh, you got to pay double for your next, draw or your next buy-in or whatever, because you're my main competition in this game. You have the most chips, so I'm going to screw you over.
Okay.
Or you can be like, I get to draw for free this turn. So you get 3
Yeah, I'm bored. I'm bored of you describing it now. But the point is, though, the point is,
You'll have a lot of fun when you
What I got, the first thing you said was you explained it, and I was on board. I don't need any more. I'm bored. But the point is, it sounds great. And so
that's not how I operate.
I don't really care. I'm bored, so I move on. But the point is, Kirkland, is that I'm looking at even these screenshots now, and I'm excited to get back into it. But it's exactly the thing that Jeff Grubb, I guess, thought was an aha or a gotcha statement, which is not because what I played earlier was like, oh my God, but because I just like being in the world in this way, right? I haven't been in when I played Stig's game, and I haven't played the second one. What was the first one called? The new one's Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, that's the first one. The second one is Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I played the first one. I thought it was great. But those games have such a adrenaline shot of momentum from beginning to end, whereas this game, is really just like you said. It's like, I'll go play.
Stop and smell the rose bushes, basically.
Right. I'll go play Sabacc. I'll go ride my bike around. I'll go explore a little bit, and it's in a world that I've grown up loving, and that does so much of the heavy lifting. And it looks good enough that it looks like Star Wars and it sounds like Star Wars. And I do think she's an appealing character almost right out the gate that I'm in. So I hope, but again, I may be bored out of my mind in 4 hours. I don't know. But so far, after 2.5 hours, I'm digging it a lot. I saw an early video, says Wayne, of the main character punching troopers in the helmet. Did they edit that? Please tell me they did, because it looks silly. I have no idea.
No, it's just the game.
I've punched people.
The absolute shit out of stormtroopers with her bare hands.
Yeah, I mean, she can punch the shit out of people, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay. G says, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it's good. Eternal says, at least it doesn't have lame fetch quests. Oh, I liked Hogwarts Legacy, but its open world was largely empty in a lot of places and had a bunch of boring fetch quests. Does this have a lot of fetch quests, this game? Like,
not until later.
Okay.
I would say. Like basically the bespoke, like fleshed out missions as side content, like the well runs dry eventually. And then you're clearly getting like these Radiant type missions that it's like, I think I've done this before. Like eventually you get to that point. But it comes much later than you might have thought with a Ubisoft game. Like, you usually expect to hit that pretty early.
Right.
And this one's like, you're finally like, oh, so this is a recurring mission type. Okay. Like, you kind of get to that point later on.
Twisted Sith says, oh, please, Jaffe, name 3 things appealing about her that aren't physical. Okay, well, I think her voice performance is really good. She's the perfect example. There's a very famous, to the point that it's tropey and mocked by actual people who write for movies and TV called Save the Cat. And the whole premise behind Save the Cat is that, I forget which movie it was referencing, but in the first scene, when you meet your main character in this particular movie, they're saving the life of a cat. So even before the characters open their mouth, you go, I like that character, right? It's a technique of writers, or it's a metaphor or a literal thing that's become a metaphor of you need your save the cat moment, right? Well, Kay Vass, who's the main character here, is taking care of Nix, who's this little pet, and she's feeding him, and she loves him, and she can pet animals and stuff. So she's a appealing human as a character. She's in a lot of trouble, and I think a lot of people, even if they may not be, I remember being in college and struggling to pay the rent and the bills and what can I sell and what can I do to make, to see a character at the beginning of the game that is scrappy and struggling, kind of like Aladdin in the Disney film, those are the things that make her appealing.
Aladdin's a good comparison, yeah.
Yeah, I don't fucking say shit just to say it, bitch. I know what I think about what I say before I goddamn say it. Good God Almighty. Eternal says, I don't get why I want to take this, then you take it, but I don't get why Kirkland rates games so high but won't recommend them as a buy. I think because he's actually doing the job of a critic and not trying to basically be a buyer's guide. You can sit there and go, Schindler's List is a great movie. But I don't want to sit there and see it.
I thought that was going to go.
But I don't want to watch it 10 times like I want to watch Rocky IV 10 times. So is Schindler's List not worthy of an Oscar or a 10 out of 10 because I only want to pay to see that once, but I want to pay to see Rocky IV multiple times? No. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think whether you like his review or agree with his review, I do think there is something to sort of appreciate about the fact that it's not a buyer's guide, nor was the Concord review. It is
I think the idea is that you would either read my written review or watch my video review, and then you would be able to determine for you if it's a buy. Like, I can't tell you if it's a buy for you, Like,
he says yes, but when people see an 8 or higher, they usually assume it's worth a buy and play through. That's a them problem. I mean, Kirkland may be going against the wind on this, and he may end up never growing his channel or his career because, it's a risk you take, right? It's in the same way I would never take preview code from anybody who says you have to say nice things, or even that. I won't do it.
I've never been told that.
No, I know. But they're
far down the totem pole.
I know,
so if
but
there's anybody they were gonna influence, it'd be me.
Sure. My bigger point though is that I would never. There are certain things I don't do that hurt my channel, right? Like have Kirkland on. Ha ha. Things that I do that
things you don't do that hurt your channel, don't have.
I know. But you know what I'm saying. So I appreciate that. It may not be in your best interest in the sense that Eternal is correct in that most people don't look at reviews as critical critiques of a piece of software as an art or a piece of entertainment. They go, do I drop my money? But, that's a risk that you take, Kirkland, but I don't think there's not a lot of people writing that, and I appreciate that. That's all I'm saying.
Chat doesn't want you to play that again because it's way too loud.
It's too loud. Sorry, fellas. Who's this? Text me here. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not telling you. That's tough when somebody's like, should I buy it? I don't fucking know. What do you mean? I'm not telling you not to buy it either. That's the 8 is the 8 because I think you could buy it, and I think you could have a good time with it, and I think you could feel like it was worth it. But also, if you have any doubts, wait, don't spend $70 if you have any doubts. I think it's right in that. I think a 9 is you gotta go buy this right now. I don't know. I don't think you have to buy any game right when it comes out. Personally, I mean, unless it's a 9 or a 10, and even then, I mean. Unless it's a multiplayer game, you can always play that. You can.
Hey, Kirkland, take the show for about 5 minutes. I got to get my kids some medicine. Talk to the chat.
How long is 5 minutes?
It's 5. Oh, you're not thrilled to take the show, you fucking 400 follower motherfucker.
With your chat?
Take the show.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right. by Fallen Order and Survivor. I mean, yeah, if people haven't played those games yet, that's probably a good investment. Jaffe's gonna be gone for like 15 minutes, isn't he? He's totally gonna be gone for like a long time. Kirkland briefs or boxers? Like tidy whities or like boxer briefs? Like I like boxer briefs. I definitely don't play. I definitely don't wear tidy whities. Like those aren't even comfortable. I play a lot of Snap. Yeah, I didn't realize he was gonna do it on camera. That's funny. Yeah, I like Marvel Snap. I'm taking a break actually this season because I don't think that Kate Bishop or some of the cards that have been coming out are like that compelling. But I played a lot of Deadpool's Diner and I unlocked Cassandra Nova, which is a great card. So I've been having fun with Snap. Space Marine 2 is like kind of off my radar. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know about Space Marine 2. I'm not super excited about it. Like I'm not like that eager to jump into it. Jaffe, how do you feel about Space Marine 2? Any eagerness for Space Marine 2?
I'm excited because I think it looks good visually, and it looks like I was watching I think it was the GameSpot walkthrough or preview from Gamescom, and it's real bloody, it's real violent, it's like God of War with a gun and a chainsaw and Gears of War mixed together. So I'm excited for that, but I don't know if it's, going to get boring. If it's the same, if it's just that for like 12 levels, I might start to kind of feel like it's Evil West, where it's like, it's fun to play for about 4 or 5 levels. Then I want to get on with my life. But visually it looks stunning. Bolt Gun from Warhammer was excellent, but it wore out its welcome, really fast.
Isn't this like a Helldivers though? Isn't it like the game type that we're talking about?
It does apparently there's a campaign, which I understand is the main thing, but there is a PvE and or PvP, but don't know. Tricky Silver says, is Dune Awakening the next big thing? I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I love Dune. I love the books. I love the movies, but I think survival games are so saturated at this point, and Dune is not a very engaging, interesting environment in which to survive. After a while, it's like it's just more fucking desert. So I think it's going to be fine, but I don't think it's going to blow, people's minds and shit. So
You want to put a bow on Star Wars?
yeah, let me see if anybody else has any thoughts or questions. I mean, I had one question for you. So here would be my recommendation for Star Wars. My recommendation is, even if you're going to buy it, like unless you hear people's reviews and you want to run out and you want to buy it today at $70, $60, you're going to know if you're that guy or not. But what I would recommend is,
Sounds like people don't.
Yeah. So what I would
like, Kirkland, tell me, what should I do?
Okay, well, here's what I would say you would do. I would say drop $18. Maybe you want to wait until the time window between Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows are linked together, so you can get both in the same month versus having to subscribe 2 months in a row. But drop $18, get Ubisoft Plus at the highest tier, which is $18. You can download the games, you can stream the games. You don't just get Star Wars, you get all the Assassin's Creed, you get the Crew Motorfest, which is excellent. You get the new...
Damn, bro, you sponsored? I'm in the creator program, and you're over here...
I say I'm an honest guy. I don't have to get paid to say what's good.
No, in all seriousness, it's like your point is valid. It's just you can't... It's not on PlayStation, which is where the largest console install base is.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Ubisoft Classic is on PlayStation. Ubisoft Plus is not, I believe. But yeah, you have to have. It's just kind of a less expensive, not day one, more of their kind of quote.
Yeah, nobody wants that shit.
I mean, but yeah, Avatar is on there. The new Prince of Persia is on there. So what I would say is, if you have an Xbox or a PC, or I think this is also, by the way, on Luna. Oh my God, who cares? Even if he was wearing lipstick, what are you guys in 5th grade in 1980? My God. Luna streaming. My understanding is Again, streaming may not work for you, so I can appreciate that. But if you're in a place with streaming or you have a Fire Stick, you can also go and get Ubisoft Plus on Luna on Amazon. So there's lots of ways to play it even off PlayStation. But, that's what I would say. If those are any options for you, I would do that and then decide if you want to buy it on discount or whatever. But that would be how I would do it.
If you're not interested in Shadows, Assassin's Creed, that is, and you're really experiencing the FOMO, and you're in a financial position to drop the $70 and it not affect you whatsoever, I would just say go out and buy it. Like, don't give them almost $20 when you could just be putting that towards the overall price of the game. But if you have enough self-control and you're not champing at the bit to just get in it right now, I think it's totally worth waiting until Black Friday, because again, we know it'll come down in price for Black Friday, and it's not too long for now. But like, if you just can't wait, if you are interested in Assassin's Creed, seems like that's a pretty good deal, because you're basically gonna be able to play two games that would cost $110 each if you were going to pay for the early access that you're getting with the Ubisoft Plus. But that always messes with my brain. Like my anal brain is like, or type A or whatever is like, I could just be putting this money towards buying the freaking game and then I own it. So
yeah, I don't give a fuck about owning games because I never use them. I never go back and play them. So
okay,
but
is that why you asked that earlier?
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, yeah, but don't you want to own it? And I'm like, why? Like,
I mean, Star Wars, like a Star Wars.
But that's not.
Like,
but that's. I'm not.
basically.
I'm not saying I'm in the majority. I'm not trying to sell people my philosophy. I'm just saying that for me, there's so many games to play, and so many games I'm trying to get to play, that the idea of taking the time to go back and play something old. Oh my God, Zach, that's terrible. Did you read Zach's comment? Zack says, oh, that's great. He says, is this like a Make-A-Wish thing or something? Oh my God. No. God.
Yeah, I've been stringing Jaffe along for like 3 months now. He thinks I'm going to die soon.
Yeah. Well, one can hope. Anyway.
What? That's so mean.
Well, so was what you said.
When?
Just now, because you were stringing me along for 3 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's not real. Okay, whatever.
All right. But I hope you die. Listen, let's focus.
Tighten up.
Yeah. I'm not touching that. Okay, so let me think.
I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a bit shallow. Star Wars Outlaws. Like,
okay.
If you're looking for a lot of depth of systems in combat, in stealth, which it makes you do a lot of, or at least it's very, very evident from doing missions that it's like, this would be a lot easier if I didn't get spotted right now. And then, of course you get spotted because the mechanics aren't as good as they could be. Like, I want this game to be Hitman so bad. Like when you're playing it, you're just like, if you played like Hitman or you played Metal Gear Solid 5, you're like, damn, if I could just go in this Stormtrooper base like I could if I was Solid Snake or Big Boss, or if I was Agent 47, I'd be having one hell of a time right now. And you just feel that kind of, but it doesn't detract from the fun when you're like, walking up and there's like two Jawas arguing in Mos Eisley, or, Jabba the Hutt's like laughing at you. Like, that stuff's great.
Gotcha.
That's never not going to be fun.
All right. Listen, that's Star Wars. Play it or don't. I'll be streaming it a little more. If I stream, but the next game I stream is probably going to be more Wukong though.
I think you're too hooked on Wukong to even enjoy.
I'm enjoying Star Wars. I'm not knocking it. I think it's quite good. I'm having a good time with it. But again, it's because it's Star Wars. I'm having a good time with Wukong because it's genuinely great. Star Wars may genuinely be great, but I haven't gotten to that point yet.
What are you playing Star Wars on, PC?
I'm playing it on PC. I'm very eager for it to come to GeForce Now because I'm playing it locally. And I have a good computer, but not as good as whatever they're running at GeForce Now at the premium tier.
You're playing Wukong on GeForce?
Oh, yeah. I'm playing Wukong and I'm playing Star Wars.
I've heard that's a good experience.
Is,
somebody was asking me what I thought about that game earlier. I only play games on PS5, so it doesn't sound like it's a fantastic experience to play on PS5.
It depends on who you ask. It's really weird. Some people say there are issues with performance mode. Some people say, no, it's bullshit. It's great.
Well, The problem with the game on PS5 is they're essentially they're using frame generation to do. Are you familiar with like what checkerboard rendering is, or like upscale scale 4K?
Well, yeah, they're not really drawing it. They're taking the same frame they just had, right? They're basically putting it.
They're just like doubling. They're doubling like whatever half of 4K is. Is that 1080? I don't know. 1440, whatever. They're using like a multiplication technique to. It's like it makes it like it's a higher resolution, and that's what a lot of like PS4 Pro games did to like get to 4K, whereas the Xbox One X was actually native 4K.
Yeah.
They use checkerboard. Apparently, this game is the first console game, at least purportedly, according to journalists, that is doing that type of technique with frame rate. So it's actually rendering. It's actually like a game that runs on console at 30 frames per second. But they're using frame generation to double the frames that the viewer is seeing. But the game is not running. Like, those frames don't exist. It's like creating them. Like, basically,
Right.
like the system is saying, what would go between this one and this one? We'll show them that. We'll show the player
Right.
that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So to me, it's kind of like once I went to GeForce, I'm just kind of like, and I don't mean it.
Yeah.
I don't mean it
looks
like,
so good.
yeah, you just get used to that, and that becomes your barometer, and anything else is like, eh. So playing it at whatever, 90, 120 frames, everything's turned up, cinematic mode, whatever they call it, that's above ultra on the settings, including ray tracing. I've never seen a game look so realistic, and that adds so much to it. But I'm also enjoying it. People are asking if it's a boss rush game. It is, but not in the way that it sounds. Like Eternal says, I'm not really in the mood for that type of game where it's fight after fight as you get stronger, learning new stats. It's not Elden Ring bosses. It's more like, I compared it to an old arcade game called Yay Ar Kung Fu, but it's like most of the bosses so far you can kill in one or two tries. They're like more mini bosses and sub bosses, and there are a lot of places to explore. Not like an open world game, but it's more like Onimusha, or the first 3 God of Wars.
Have you ever played the Genji games on PS2 and PS3?
No, because the giant enemy crab.
That was only the second one. I really liked the first one. It was very good.
Right. No, the first one was the giant enemy crab.
No, it was the
Yes, it
second one.
was. He went on stage and said, in Genji, you can attack
Right.
its weak
That was-
spot
that
for
was the second
massive
game.
damage.
You can check this. I'm right.
I don't care. I'm not going to check it because you might be right.
That's probably good. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, point is this. There's Star Wars. Do with it what you will. I will be playing it some more, playing Wukong some more. But for now, that's our discussion on Star Wars. We are now Kirkland, did you want to hang out and talk with other people and talk some other topics, or you're out? Because it's late where you are.
If we start going like political, I'll probably bounce out just because.
No, we're
like,
not doing politics, but
If we're talking games.
Well,
and
here's
games
what I'll tell you.
coverage stuff,
Here's what
absolutely.
we're going to talk about next. Let me bring it up here.
I think you said Concord and Silent Hill, right?
Well,
Like something
yeah,
else.
but here's the thing. So if you look over at your screen, this is I'm going to take Kirkland and move him tiny,
Move me tiny.
and me. I'm going to make me, because I want you to see your screen. Is what I'm saying. So this is the, you know what,
That's what young ladies do for me when they take their clothes off. They move me tiny.
oh, you're like a pirate. Okay.
What?
Okay.
What?
They move me tiny, right? You
like-
call it tiny. Your
Never
penis.
mind. Yeah. Okay. You got.
You call
I
your
don't know why
penis tiny?
pirate. I don't know why pirate. Comes
Because
in
you
there.
say they move me tiny. So a pirate would be like, they're moving me grog over to the other side
there's
of the
like
ship.
a whole like group of people like across the Atlantic Ocean that just talk like that, right? Like you don't have.
Yeah,
to be
but you're
a
not
pirate.
one of them.
You don't have to be a pirate.
And you're not one of
Oh,
them.
man.
So if you do it, I assume that you're, sailing with the dread pirate steed.
Never
Okay.
mind, it wasn't even a good enough joke to justify.
Okay. Well, now I'm rethinking it. Now I'm rethinking the rest of the stream because it's late and I'm tired and I've been streaming a lot lately. Here's what we're gonna do, folks. I'm going to change the thumbnail for this. This is going to have been the Star Wars conversation. Tomorrow, earlier in the day, I'm going to get up. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct. We're going to talk about Sony needing visionary leaders. We're going to talk about all the other things we had planned for tonight. But honestly, I'm kind of tired now. So let's make Kirkland bigger in the shot, and maybe I'll stream some more games tonight. But I don't need a nappy. I just think I'm, we did like 3, 4, 5 long streams this weekend. And then we just did this one, and then I streamed earlier today. It's tiring sometimes. It's a joy to do, but doesn't it make you tired sometimes? Kirkland, Gray?
I mean, I know doing 3 reviews in 10 days wore me out. Yeah, I mean, the lives can be... I would think I only do so many. Like, I don't do like a bunch in succession during the week. So, like, yeah, I think that would be very tiring.
Yeah, I've
tried to Twitch stream a lot before, and yeah, it's a lot. Especially playing like Snap, where like you need to be like focused to like not suck.
Yes.
You know, and like I'm also trying to articulate what's going on, captivate like my hopefully 11 viewers. You know, if I'm lucky.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort.
I mean, let's see. Yeah, let's see. I don't want to talk anymore about games now. I don't want to talk anymore about games.
Yeah, so, I can just bounce out.
No,
just do your thing, vamp a little.
No, I didn't say that. Wait, insecure person, wait. All I said was, all I said was,
I'm being insecure?
I want a little more chaos right now is what I need. Okay? So I'm going to put this link in the chat, and anybody who wants to call in can call in and talk to me and Kirkland about whatever the fuck you want for a few minutes before we wrap it up.
Okay.
It's China's first AAA game release in the West. The sales are impressive. They are very fucking impressive. It's sold 10 million copies, and it's a delightful, wonderful game. I don't know why people are so upset with certain... People are just mad these days. They're mad about games online. And I don't like that. There's so many good games to play right now, no matter where you play, that it's frustrating when I see all these fucking complainers. But maybe it makes some money. I know it makes some money. Who's that guy, that grifter guy, Grums today I saw? Like, anytime there's anything he can complain about, he complains about. But you know what I saw last night? I saw somebody say that he was married, which is hard to believe, and because I didn't think he liked women.
Ravados, we can literally hear Jaffe, like...
What? Did he crash?
Oh.
And he's not paying child support. Is what now?
Yeah, it's not StreamYards anymore, so you just get thrown in here, I guess.
Yeah, I'll just put you in when you're in. And so I'm just kind of going, you know.
So glad this psychopath's here.
Who's here? Oh, he loves being on the show. He loves it. He got mad at me. He was just kind of like, well, I'm not.
You know your camera's off, right?
Ravenos, your camera's off.
I know, dude. I was eating and I probably have food in my beard, and you guys don't want to see that shit.
He's like, I don't like the show if I can't call in. This is like his moment to shine. Ravenos, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. You said I could ramble and bitch and rant about anything, right?
Until I get bored, yes.
I'm okay. What should we ramble and bitch about?
I don't know.
Starting to talk about the neckbeard grifter types, right?
I'm just tired of them, man. I'm tired of everybody being so mad. I'm tired of everybody being, I was
a little annoyed that Ginger had Grums on his show, but like, you know, that's kind of like Ginger's thing is like, let's hear everybody out and like have like discourse and like that's fine.
I've had Grums on my show once. I don't mind hearing you out, but when I absolutely know,
yeah, but you'll call him as bullshit. I did hear that Ginger kind of wasn't. He didn't just let him get away with anything. So I didn't watch the episode because I don't want to hear Grums talk about bullcrap for an hour. But
yeah.
That doesn't seem like a good use of my time.
I had a discussion with someone on Twitter, and it was actually kind of fruitful, which is surprising.
You're kind of fruitful.
Yeah.
I'm very fruitful.
Gross.
But listen, I think the problem is, and it's a fandom problem, and it goes back to sports as well.
Alexa,
but it's
stop.
gotten worse. Where people no longer are able to just like a thing or be a fan of a thing.
Yeah.
They have to have a part of their physical
Why?
well-being
Wait, hang on. They're
attached.
saying they're having a hard time hearing you. Let me fix that. 1 second. 1 second.
Same thing with politics too.
Totally. It's like people's lives revolve around what they like, and if they like something, they have to hate anything that isn't that thing. And
then it's
so
also like they have
weird.
to, if that politician or if
Hang
that
on. Can you guys hear
IP
Ravnos pretty well? Or because Kyler says he can hear him and I can hear him fine. And I see him on the soundboard.
You probably fixed it. You fixed it when you fixed me, so
Yeah, I hear
you did the
both
same
fine.
thing. It probably would have worked.
All right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's just different for the YouTube video. I think
Yeah.
they're saying he's still low.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like if there's a misuse of the IP that isn't good, or that might be a bad example actually. I guess with the sports team with the politics thing, it's like people have to be like no, like, and they have to like argue on behalf of that thing that is like clearly not doing things well, you know, like
Yeah.
it's like they're doing loser stuff, you know, like a sports team. It's like no, we're still gonna win, we're still gonna go to the playoffs. It's like you're 0-3, bro. Like, what are you talking to? You know, like, and so people have to like posture themselves to like defend this thing. They can't just be like, yeah, I like that, but I wish that they would do better. Like,
Yeah, it's
people
like
can't do that
everything
anymore.
now.
Like Xbox, like people are like, no, Xbox is great. The games are coming. Like, you just wait. Like, no, they're sucking. Like, they are. Like, I want Xbox to do well and release good games. They're sucking right now. Like, just is what it is. You just use your eyes.
Yeah,
But
it's
people
weird.
can't admit that.
It's
like
very weird.
they have to like be in denial that like Xbox is just crushing it. Oh, just crushing it with the games.
It bothers me because there are genuinely great things to play. And, you know, maybe what it is that, you know, if you are playing video games, you're probably too busy to spend too much time on this shit. You know, it's like, man, to play Wukong and to play it at a great setting, or to play some really cool new indie horror game and to play it and be surprised by it, that's a fucking delight, man. That's a fucking joy. And I just get tired of all these fucking people bitching about everything. But they make money. I get the money. It's capitalism. I get it.
Well, that's the specific grifters, but the problem is, like, look at Grums. Grums figured out, hey, no one wants me in gaming anymore because I burned whatever bridges I had at Blizzard, and then I almost ran my company into financial ruin, decided to go on Jaffe's show, say that it was Chinese spies that were paying off the board, and they're the ones that got rid of me, and they offered me a huge bribe if I would just do this thing, but my conscience was too big, and I couldn't do it, so my morality got me fired from my own CEO-ship, which is bullshit. Anybody believes that, I have a fucking bridge to sell you. But he realized, like, oh my god, I'm a nobody now. How can I get relevant again? I know. I'll attack women and minorities and anybody who isn't white, even though I'm not white. And I'll get this little army of chuds that will start Gamergate 2 online. And next thing you know, everybody will have me in their brain rent-free. And I gotta admit, it happened to me for a while. I used to engage with that fucker until I realized, wait a minute, this dude's a loser. So if I'm engaging with him, doesn't it make me even more of a loser? And I have yet to respond to a tweet from him in months. And it's just so weird that people want to hate things. It's like, oh, I love gaming, and they're ruining it. Who's they? The Western developers. How? They're making all the women fat and ugly and minorities, and they're giving them the skin condition. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with people? If you don't like a game because it has minorities in it, then just play a different game. It's not like, no, you have to play this one.
Also, what
game.
does that say about you if that's the reason that you don't like a game?
That they're shallow and vapid.
I would say it says even worse things.
Well,
about
bigoted,
something.
yeah, but I mean, but there's legitimately. Okay, here's the thing, because Jaffe, I think you'll agree with this. You shouldn't be like upset if you see a new game announced. It's like, oh look, one of the characters is a black woman. Who the fuck cares? But then you have Concord, and it's like, oh look,
This isn't for me specifically.
yeah. And then you get Concord, and it's like, oh, so they didn't decide to like let's have some minorities. They went like, let's make it Guardians of the Galaxy meets a universe that doesn't have white people in it, and that, as you can see, went over like a fart in church. Because my God,
Yeah.
is Concord the biggest bomb I can think of since the Avium, Immortals of Avian game.
But that was supposed to be a good game.
That
though.
game did better than
No,
this.
did it?
Yeah.
Its peak on Steam was 500 something. This beat it by 100. Concord had like 697. They almost got 700 concurrent on launch day.
Yeah.
And it's gone down
Okay.
since.
All right. Well, listen, fellas, that was fun. I think I'm just not really in the mood to talk about it anymore. I want to go play games. Isn't that what a terrible professional I am. I don't care.
Go play Wukong.
I am. Listen, I'm gonna go. I just, yeah, I'm done. It's terrible. That's my life. I'm telling you. But listen, Trippy, we're gonna kick off the show tomorrow with this topic about Sony caring about their other IP. We're gonna talk about the lack of vision in Sony Studios. I think they need a leader. I know a lot of people don't, but it's not hate. I really think they need that, and I want to talk about it badly. I just hit a wall, and I don't want to give you guys a bad show. And so I will say to good Sir Kirkland, thank you for coming on and sharing your views about Star Wars. Ravnos, good to see you, buddy. I may stream tonight if I get a second wind. I probably won't, but I will be back tomorrow with live shows and videos. And be well and be safe. And thank you guys to new members and super chats, and I will see you guys soon. All
See
right.
ya.
Bye, you guys. Thank you, Kirkland. I appreciate it. I'll link Kirkland's reviews in the about of this video later tonight. Okay. See you guys soon.
Appreciate that.
Bye, you guys. Okay. Yeah, I just, sometimes I'm just, it's too late. I started the stream too late, and I'm really good. When I have the energy. But what I got to do is I got to stop doing the shows this late unless I'm just gaming. Because I'm not I'm not there. I need to be all there. I feel guilty. I'm sorry. But the point being is thank you guys, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.